y'all, welcome back to my channel. This is Chrissy T. I am back with a review, recap, summary, whatever you want to call it, on Love at Marriage Huntsville, Season 6, Episode 24. Like, comment, subscribe. So the scene starts with Nell and Chris. They decided to skip work and go out and paint the town red. They went to a club and danced the night away, and they looked good while doing it. Nell outfit is on point. Chris looks good. Okay, Nell, your makeup, flawless. That hair, now that's another story. After sweating profusely from dancing, they decided to have a seat. And Nell tells Chris that she and Martell had a chit-chat, and he kind of got out of pocket, getting loud with her and whatnot. Upset that she decided to support Melody by attending her name change ceremony. Chris said he may need to pull up and let Martell know you ain't gonna disrespect my wife. Then over yonder, we see Stormi and Tiff. They're talking about the barbecue, and Tiffany already throwing shade towards KeKe, saying that she didn't know that a person could be both relevant and irrelevant at the same time. And Stormi says, see, I wish y'all would stop with the shade towards each other. And Stormi tells her that she throws more shade than KeKe, which is true. And Tiffany seems to be surprised because she thinks Stormi is more on KeKe's side, and perhaps they're cooking something up against her. Girl, bye. Typical Karen, throwing rocks, then playing the victim. She threw so much shade at KeKe during that Carlos interview. Now, matter of fact, I think that was beyond shade. That was nasty and cruel. The things that came out of her mouth. She said the girl was irrelevant. She talked down on her. She made it seem like KeKe was beneath her. She said that the only reason she was on the show in the first place is because of Tish. She's always talking about KeKe. She talked about her to Mel. Okay, she talked about her to Stormi when Stormi went to go check on her. And she asked her how she was feeling. And the first thing that came out of her mouth was KeKe being on Crime Stoppers and how it's going to hurt her brand. Yet we still don't know what she do for a living. Go ahead and throw your shade, but don't go around here thinking you're better than the next person, because you're not. So then Stormi asked her if she mentioned anything to anyone about KeKe's son moving to a school outside the district. And of course, she denied it. And Stormi again says, so you didn't mention anything to anybody about KeKe moving? And she denied it again. So I wish she would have just said Melody, the bone collector, is the one that told KeKe. Throw her under the bus. All right, this is a reality show. Throw her under the bus. So it almost seemed like she was trying to tiptoe around and didn't want to mention that Melody is the one that told KeKe. Had she said Melody is the one that told her, maybe Tiffany would have fessed up. But she lied, of course, because there was no name attached to the who said what. So Tiffany never owned up to it, nor did she own up to talking about Stormi hair care products being unsafe. She had the nerve to say, I still use the products. As a matter of fact, I ran out and I need more. Now, who's lying? I think Tiffany is lying, and I believe what KeKe said. Tiffany was going around talking about this woman's products. So it looks like Tiffany's storyline is going to be gossip, because that's all we see her do is gossip about somebody. But we still don't know what's going on in her life or with her and Lou. But yeah, this episode wasn't really given much. It was kind of borderline boring. So we now get to the name change ceremony, and it was a beautiful moment. It did make me tear up a little bit because that man put her through so much, and she forgave him over and over again. Okay, until she didn't. And I'm glad that this chapter of her life is finally over. Her mother made a lovely speech about the Rogers name, and she said she was proud of her. But of course, someone had to ruin the moment. Nell pulls her aside at an inappropriate time and tells her what Martell said. That woman was in a good place, and you had to bring Martell's name up. Like, why? Why would you want to ruin such a beautiful moment? That could have waited. If she wanted to hear anything about this man, she would have invited him, okay? He would have been on the roster. On top of that, he never brought up the name change. It was you. It was inappropriate for you to mention the name change ceremony to him, just as well as it is inappropriate for you to mention this at her name change ceremony. This wasn't about Martell. This was about her moving on with her life. Now, I done already said I wanted to replace the Scotts with you and your husband. Don't make me regret it. But I notice anytime Mel wants to do something for the betterment of herself, here come Martell. Always trying to bring her down, okay, make false accusations, talking about she's cheating. If she cheated, we would have heard about this before the divorce, okay, but you wait until she wants to do something special for herself, and here you come with your lies. Never taking any accountability yourself, and then have the nerve to tell Nell to hold her accountable for her cheating, but I doubt it. I doubt if she cheated. But you don't even take responsibility because you always making excuses. And if your last name is so sacred to you, Martell, you and Coleslaw are Instagram official. I mean, y'all been doing lives together, going Christmas shopping for the kids together. Give her the last name. But you up here in your feelings about Mel going back to her original name, the name she had before she met you. In the next scene, Stormi is talking to Kyle, which is the COO of Canvas Beauty. And he's been with Canvas Beauty for over a year. And she wanted to celebrate her 5-year anniversary by having a party because so many companies don't make it to 5 years. And she really wants to celebrate that 5-year milestone. So Kyle said there was a point where she almost lost it all. Not just the company, but the warehouse and her home. And then she said she was pregnant and on bed rest, and she found out signatures were being forged. Girl, what's tea? Who forged your signature? Why did they do it? What was the repercussions behind it? Like, give us this information. She didn't give much detail there. And she said at one point she wanted to give up. And then she mentioned that the company grew so fast, and I believe that she may have bit off more than she can chew. And then Kyle mentioned something about the snakes trying to take advantage of the company. Who were the snakes? I mean, give us something, girl. You didn't give us much detail here. There's so many unanswered questions. So he went on to say that he knows she wanted to help her family, but growing a company, you know, like the company she has requires making some difficult decisions. And them being the leaders of the company, they both have an ethical responsibility and a legal responsibility. So it sounds like maybe she has some family and friends involved in the business that was doing some shadiness, which is why it almost cost her home, her warehouse, and Canvas Beauty. But like I said, we didn't get very much detail here. I wish she would have elaborated more on this. This is a reality show, but you're not giving us the reality. You tiptoeing around the topics, trying not to give us too much. But the Fletchers are going to show y'all how it's done. So in the next scene, we have Nell and Fletcher, and they're having a family dinner. Now, this is real, raw reality. Nothing scripted about this scene. Move over Scott's and the Scott's 2.0 because this is reality. They're bringing it. And they're showing y'all how reality TV is really done because all the Scotts, they ain't bringing really nothing. If it wasn't for KeKe and Marceau cheating allegations, what would we have really seen from the Scotts? Think about it for a minute. Absolutely nothing. And I'm tired of hearing about the Scotts 2.0 lack of intimacy every season, every episode. So Nell invites her 4 kids and her niece over for dinner. And Nell mentions in her confessional that she practically raised her niece KeKe, whom she had employed, but then had to fire her. So Chris said, yeah, she got another job and then lost that one also. And Nell said, well, I didn't even know about that. So Nell asked her, why did she lose her job? And she said, because she didn't have the proper child care. And Nell said, well, do you have proper child care now? And she said, yes. But her auntie owns a daycare. Why wasn't the child put in her daycare? I didn't understand that. And Nell wanted to know why is she the last to know things, but she is the one financially supporting them. But they want to always run to Chris. So KeKe said she goes to Chris because he's cool. And Nell said, well, what am I? And she pretty much says that Nell sometimes overreacts and she really didn't want to hear her mouth. So she wanted to wait until she fixed the situation, then tell Nell. So it sounds like that she didn't want to disappoint Nell, which is why she didn't tell her and she didn't want to be judged. So I definitely understand where KeKe is coming from because you don't want to share things like that and be judged about it. And that's the reason why she didn't tell her, because she knew she was going to be very judgmental, go from 0 to 100 and be really hard on her. So Nell says to her son, Chris Jr., that he used to call her every other day, and now he doesn't call her at all. And she wanted to know the reason behind it. And he said because of the dog. So he got locked up, okay, and his mom and dad had to bail him out. The bill was $6,000. Okay, they had to take the dog to the vet. That was over $3,000. And not only that, they had to pay the medication for the dog, which was $3,000. Over $3,000, actually. So he's telling her that he wants his dog back and he's going to give her the $3,800. But she said, no. You owe $6,000 for the bail and also for the dog's medication. So he's saying that he should only pay for what came out of her pocket when she took the dog to the vet. He said a trade for a trade. So they going back and forth because she's saying she ain't giving him them damn dogs back, whether he paid her $3,800 or not. She's saying she wants every dime back from the bail, the expenses for the dog's medication, and the expenses for taking him to the vet. So they still going back and forth about this damn dog. And in the midst of that, Alexis was saying something, but we really couldn't hear. But all we heard was Mel tell her to shut up. Honey, woo. I don't know what Alexis was saying, but child, she hit a nerve over there with Nell. And honey, that was the end of the scene. But next week, honey, it gets even better, okay? So next week, we see Alexis and Chris in a heated discussion, honey, in which she threatens to leave. And then we see her in the car, and she says to her dad that he hasn't been there for her since she was 28. Girl. And then Chris finally checks Martell about disrespecting his wife. And then we'll see KeKe and Tiff finally meet up with Stormi. And of course, Tiff had that baby with her. Girl, stop using that baby as a shield. That don't make no sense. You can't sit here and throw jabs at her and then use your baby as a shield when it's time to own up to the shit you said. Keep that same energy you had in your confessional. I can't believe she got this baby out. You got all that mouth, but running to your baby for protection. I can't. But these Fletchers clocked in, and so did the kids. They ain't even on the clock, and they clocked in. And this is what reality TV is. So I'm enjoying them being on this show, and I really wish they replace the Scott and Lamh and Tiffany, because they ain't really bringing much, and she doing all this gossiping but can't back it up.